What's going on, everyone? So what a wild offseason already. We haven't even gotten to the NBA draft yet, and there's all these trades happening, all this movement and action. Well, we just got another trade, and this time it was the Washington Wizards and the New Orleans Pelicans. This is another kind of surprising trade. But the New Orleans Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum. So the New Orleans Pelicans are sending CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Saddiq Bey, and the 40th pick in this draft. This is interesting, right? So, obviously, on the surface, it's like, okay, Washington are getting some vets, but expiring contracts. They move off of Jordan Poole. They didn't have to give up any, significant assets or value. Saddiq Bey, I think it just gives, a Pelicans team another 3-and-D guy. Okay, that makes some sense there, right? But as far as the Pelicans side of things, yes, they get younger. You could argue more dynamic with a Jordan Poole, right? He's offensive player that can, light it up with the best of them. Maybe with a team in the Pelicans with the DeJounte Murray and a couple guys, okay, maybe he could kind of hone things in, be a bucket getter with Zion and stuff. It's kind of this, it's a bit of a risk in my opinion, because he is so hot and cold and he is getting paid so much. You're taking on that contract and that salary, but you're getting, like I said, you're getting a young guy with still plenty of potential and upside and growth. I don't hate it for the Pelicans. I don't love it for the Pelicans. It's kind of like, it's a little weird, right? But it's like, what would you have gotten that's better for CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk, right? Like, what would you have got? Probably nothing. Probably not getting a first or picks or anything like that. So you're taking a chance on a guy in a Jordan Poole, right? You get a 40th pick, so you get second round pick, not bad. But you're basically taking the risk on a young player that gives you plenty of upside and potential and could be a real bucket getter for you and showed some real promise not that long ago that kind of went to Washington and they weren't trying to play or win or do anything. He's just kind of chucking up shots. So maybe he goes to a team in the Pelicans and kind of hone in, focus on what he does best, kind of be that bucket getter, have, the complementary pieces around him. I don't hate it. Right? Again, I don't hate it. It's just the money you're taking on with Jordan Poole. Right? You're taking on a lot of just money. I mean, for the Washington Wizards, this makes all the sense in the world. You get off of Jordan Poole's contract and money. This gives you financial flexibility and all that. Right? So, again, for a team like the Wizards, this made all the sense in the world. You get a CJ McCollum and you get a Kelly Olynyk. Maybe you can flip them in even like a second round pick each if you can. Maybe you find a veteran team that's like, hey, be more than happy to take him on. Cool. Right? But worst case, they're expiring contracts for you. I don't think that's the end of the world. Right? I think you're in, again, a win-win scenario regardless in that manner. Is there any more... is this where it stops? Or I think it depends on what else do the Pelicans look to do. Washington, again, it's just clear off cap, do all that. But you got to remember, Jordan Poole, he signed a 4-year, $128 million extension. He's going to be getting a pretty hefty price tag over these next few seasons. He's still got a couple years left on the deal. Jordan Poole still has 2 more years left on his deal. He's going to make $31.8 million in 2025, 2026, and then $34 million in 2026, 2027. So you have still, 60, almost $70 million that you're taking on if you're the New Orleans Pelicans. Again, I don't hate it, right? I think this is kind of one of those so kind of a win-win, right? I do. I think that this is a win-win trade. I think the Wizards get their cap salary relief. They get off of the Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole experiment. And then the Pelicans get a young prospect, which is more, not prospect's the wrong word, but a young player still, because he's still 26, that has the potential to be a real offensive bucket getter, and him, actually having some more structure and, purpose of hey, we're trying to win here and stuff. Maybe that kind of changes things for them. I don't know. We'll see. Right. Again, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but it's been a wild offseason. I will say that. It's been quite the interesting move. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you make of this move? Who do you think won this trade? Who do you think didn't win this trade? Do you think it was a mutually beneficial trade? Like, hey, both sides won. This was great. The Wizards kind of clear off some salary. The Pelicans get another young player to kind of add to their young core, and could maybe make some moves and some splashes next season if they can stay healthy, right? That's the big problem with the Pelicans. They haven't been able to stay healthy. They've just been like, the Pelican curse, as they say. They just can't stay healthy. If they can stay healthy this year, it would be interesting. Because, if they can stay healthy, you have DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, right, with Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and Zion Williamson. Not too bad, right? I probably prefer a better center, but no, not too bad. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.